Echa, or Lamentations, chapter 1. How alone she sits, the city once great with people. Like a widow she has become, once great among the nations. A princess among provinces has become a slave. She weeps bitterly at night, and her tears are upon her cheeks. Among all her lovers, there is no comforter for her. All her friends have betrayed her. They've become her enemies. Yehuda's gone into exile because of affliction and because of harsh labor. She has dwelt among nations. She has found no rest. All her pursuers have overtaken her between narrow places. The ways to Sion mourn, for no one comes to the appointed times. All her gates are deserted. Her priests sigh, her maidens are afflicted, and she has bitterness. Her adversaries have become chief, her enemies have become at ease. For Yehovah has afflicted her because of her many transgressions. Her children have gone into captivity before the enemy, and all the splendor has departed from the daughter of Zion. Her rulers have become like buck, they found no pasture, and they go powerless before the pursuer. In the days of her affliction and wandering, Jerusalem remembered all her precious matters that she had in the days of old. When her people fell into the hand of the enemy with no one to help her, the adversaries saw her. They mocked at her destruction. Jerusalem has sinned greatly, therefore she's become defiled. All who esteemed her despised her because they've seen her nakedness. She herself has sighed and turned away. Her uncleanness is in her skirts. She did not keep in mind her latter end and has gone down appallingly. There was no one to comfort her. See, O Yehovah, my affliction, for the great enemy has made himself great. The adversary has spread his hand over all her precious matters. Indeed, she has seen. The nations have entered her set-apart place, those whom you commanded not to enter your assembly. All her people are sighing, seeking bread. They have given their precious matters for food to bring back life. See, O Yehovah, and look, for I've become despised. Is it not to you, all who pass by? Look and see if there is any pain like my pain, which has been brought on me, which Yehovah has inflicted on me in the day of his burning displeasure. From above, he sent fire into my bones, and it has overpowered them. He spread a net for my feet and turned me back. He has laid me waste and faint all the day. The yoke of my transgressions has been bound by his hand, woven together and thrust upon my neck. He has made my strength stumble. Yehovah has given me into hands which I am unable to withstand. Yehovah has trodden down all my strong men in my midst. He has called and appointed a time against me to crush my young men. Yehovah has trodden down as in a winepress the maiden daughter of Yehuda. This is why I weep. My eye is running down with water, because the Comforter who could bring back my life has been far from me. My children are stunned, for the enemy has prevailed. Zion spreads out her hands. There's no comforter for her. Yehovah has commanded concerning Yaakov. His neighbors are his adversaries. Jerusalem has become an uncleanness among them. Yehovah is righteous, for I rebelled against his mouth. Hear now, all peoples, and see my pain. My maidens and my young men have gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and my elders breathed their last in the city while they sought food to bring back their life. See, O Yehovah, I am in distress. My inward parts are boiling up. My heart is overturned within me, for I've been very rebellious. From without the sword has bereaved. At home it's like death. They've heard that I sighed with no one to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my calamity. They've rejoiced that you have done it. You shall bring on the day that you have announced, so let them become like me. Let all their evil come before you, and do to them as you have done to me, for all my transgressions. For my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Chapter 2. How Yehovah in his displeasure has covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud. He has cast down from heavens to the earth the comeliness of Israel, and not remembered his footstool in the day of his displeasure. Yehovah has swallowed up, without compassion, all the pastures of Yaakov. In his wrath he has thrown down the strongholds of the daughter of Yehudah. He has brought them down to the ground. He has profaned the reign and its rulers. In the heat of displeasure he has cut off every horn of Israel. He has withdrawn his right hand from before the enemy, and he burns against Yaakov like a flaming fire, consuming all around. He has bent his bow like an enemy. He has set his right hand like an adversary, and he kills all who delighted the eye. In the tent of the daughter of Zion he has poured out his wrath like fire. Yehovah has been like an enemy. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed her strongholds. And he increases mourning and lamentation in the daughter of Yehudah. He has demolished his booth like a garden. He has destroyed his place of meeting. Yehovah has made the appointed times and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and despises sovereign and priest in his raging displeasure. Yehovah has cast off his slaughter place. He has rejected his set-apart place. He has delivered the walls of her palaces into the hand of the enemy. They've made a noise in the house of Yehovah as on the day of an appointed time. Yehovah has planned to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out a line. He has not turned back his hand from destroying. And he has made the rampart and wall to lament. Together they've languished. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has destroyed and broken her bars. Her sovereign and her rulers are among the nations. The Torah is no more, and her prophets have found no vision from Yehovah. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit on the ground, are silent. They've thrown dust on their heads. They've girded themselves with sackcloth. The maidens of Jerusalem have let their heads hang to the ground. My eyes are spent with tears. My inward parts ferment. My bile has been poured on the ground because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. As children and infants languish in the streets of the city, they say to their mothers, "Where is grain and wine?" As they languish like the wounded in the streets of the city, as their life is poured out in their mother's bosom. How shall I admonish you? To what shall I compare you, O daughter of Jerusalem? To what shall I liken you to comfort you, O maiden daughter of Zion? For your breach is as great as the sea. Who shall heal you? Your prophets have seen falsehood and folly for you, and have not shown you your crookedness to turn back your captivity. But their visions for you are false and misleading messages. All who pass by have clapped their hands at you, and they have whistled, and they shake their heads at you, the daughter of Jerusalem. Is this the city that is called the perfection of loveliness, the joy of all the earth? All your enemies have opened their mouth against you. They have whistled and they gnash their teeth. They say, "We have swallowed her up. This is certainly the day we waited for. We've found it, we've seen it." Yehovah has done what he planned. He has filled his word which he commanded in the days of old. He's torn down without compassion, and he's let your enemy rejoice over you. He's exalted the horn of your adversaries. Their heart cried out to Yehovah, "O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river day and night. Give yourself no numbness. Let your eyes have no rest. Arise, cry out in the night. At the beginning of the watches, pour out your heart like water before the face of Yehovah. Lift your hands toward him for the life of your young children, who languish from hunger at the head of every street. See, O Yehovah, and look attentively to whom you've done this. Should the women eat their offspring, infants of a handbreadth? Should the priest and prophet be killed in the set-apart place of Yehovah? Young and old lie on the ground in the streets. My maidens and my young men have fallen by the sword. You have killed them in the day of your displeasure. You've slaughtered without compassion. Would you proclaim, as in a day of appointed time, that fears surround me, and no one escaped or survived in the day of the displeasure of Yehovah? Those whom I have nursed and brought up, my enemy has destroyed. Chapter 3. I am the man who has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He's led me and made me walk in darkness and not light. Indeed, he's turned back. He's turned his hand against me all the day. He's worn out my flesh and skin. He has broken my bones. He's piled up against me and surrounded me with bitterness and hardship. He's made me dwell in dark places like the dead of old. He's hedged me in and I do not go out. He's made my chain heavy. Also, when I cry and shout, he shuts out my prayer. He's blocked my ways with hewn stone. He's made my paths crooked. He is to me like a bear lying in wait, a lion in hiding. He's turned aside my ways and torn me to pieces. He laid me waste. He's bent his bow and set me up as a target for the arrow. He made the arrows of his quiver pierce my kidneys. I've been a mockery to all my people, their mocking song all the day. He's filled me with bitterness. He drenched me with wormwood, and he has broken my teeth with gravel. He's covered me with ashes. And you've removed my being far from peace, and I've forgotten goodness. And I said, my strength and my expectancy have perished from Yehovah. Remember my affliction and my anguish, the wormwood and the gall. Your being indeed remembers and bows down upon me. This I recall to my mind. Therefore, I wait for the loving commitments of Yehovah. For we have not been consumed, for his compassions have not ended. They are new every morning. Great is your trustworthiness. Yehovah is my portion, says my being. Therefore I wait for him. Yehovah is good to those waiting for him, to the being who seeks him. It is good both to wait and be silent for the deliverance of Yehovah. It is good for a man to bear a yoke in his youth. Let him sit alone and be silent because he has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust. There might yet be expectancy. Let him give his cheek to the one who strikes him. He is filled with reproach. For Yehovah does not cast off forever, for though he afflicted, yet he shall show compassion according to the greatness of his loving commitments. For he has not afflicted from his heart, nor does he grieve the children of men. To crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right ruling of man before the face of the Most High, or wrong a man in his cause, this Yehovah does not approve.